Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Journey. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the Noble Tavern and looking at the wish list to really start. Now, there is a couple different ways you can build this. I'm going to show you the optimal way going in here and looking at our all hero recruitment. So this, of course, is going to be upon release. You're going to build out this wish list, and I'm going to run through the exact reason why we chose the heroes. Now, there can be a couple different substitutions in there, but this is the kind of general wish list that we're looking at. And again, I'm going to kind of run down exactly why. We can check out a couple of the heroes. I want to do a couple summons in here as well with the diamonds that we got. So overall, looking at so you have S levels and you have A levels. S levels are, of course, these first two tiers. The second two tiers are the A levels. So this is where you're going to get all of your heroes. And I want to kind of open them up to show you exactly how and where these heroes are. So looking at here, we have a tank. And forgive me if I don't know all the names at this point. This is a new hero that actually just came out. But tanking, early game, you're going to have a tank. You're going to have support. So if you were like me, or if you got kind of stuck over on the beta, I got stuck not having a tank at the very beginning, which means we use some heroes as an off tank, essentially until we built up a tank, which we know as of right now, the strongest tank within AFK Journey is Thorin. Not only does he have to die multiple times, but he also does a really big buff to the team. So he is a priority. But looking here, we do have a little bit of a damage dealer. I believe that is Vela. And then we do have a light bearer mage hero. Now, overall, as of today, the mage heroes within AFK Journey are not super effective. We see them for tower progression. They seem to do well, but overall, a majority of the heroes that we have in here are not of the classification of mage, which means you can focus on 4 classes instead of all 5. Now, again, we start off with the tank. Then, of course, my favorite hero in AFK Arena, which is Rowan. Very strong support in this game. Multitude of ways that this hero is going to be used. And, of course, looking at this hero, you want to get a tank. You want to get support when it comes early. When you look at light bearers, this is, of course, support. You could swap the hero out essentially when you do get a little bit of support in here. And then we do have Valen in here. Now, of course, when you look at a couple different places like the story tactics, you do have to build them up a little bit further so you can have them effective within here. But overall, a pretty good starting for our light bearers. Now, when we get into the maulers, we do have Brutus in here. You could actually start with Brutus again, kind of looking to place that tank very early. Brutus will work incredibly well. But then when you look at, and I think it's scary. Overall, this is a hero that is going to be a really strong damage dealer and a really good off tank. So where you're going to have your primary tank, which is absorbing all of the damage, this one can take 1 or 2, heroes off there, which as you get familiar with the game, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Then we have Smokey and Mirki. Overall, when it comes to support, incredibly well. So we have Rowan in here as support. We do have Smokey in here as support. And looking at the last 2 here, we do have Odie and we have Krugar. Now, Odie, of course, does incredibly well when it comes to PvP and also damages when you're looking at different parts like the Dream Realm, does incredibly well on bosses. And then Kruger is in here, similar to Warwick, a very big debuffer, which is the reason why a lot of players are running Kruger and do want to build him up a little bit further. So we get into the Wilders, we do have, and I believe it's Brian. It's Byron, Bryon. But overall, I've started using this hero since we had the release, built him up a little bit since he came out. Does incredibly well, does a lot of damage burst up front, and then, of course, attacks from range. And then we have another hero, which I believe this is Haywin. I think it's Haywin. Again, starting to learn all of these names. So Haywin over here, again, another support hero. Arden's in here for crowd control. We have Leica, of course, for that initial haste. In a lot of game modes, especially PvP, the haste makes a big difference, similar to what we see with her previous version. When we get into the Greyborn, we have Cecilia. Now, of course, Cecilia is one of the big primary heroes. She is a marksman. A lot of people do mistake her that she is a mage. She is a marksman, which means she falls in similar to Leica. She falls in similar to Odie. A lot of those heroes go together. Again, if you're building that out as your primary damage dealers, which I did, you can make a lot of progression pretty quick with the hero. And then, of course, we get into Thorin. Thorin, again, is the best hero right now within AFK Journey for the tanking class. Works exceptionally well, the buffs and also the retaliation ability, but also the ability to be killed multiple times in here makes a big difference. Then we have Sylvana instant DPS, so she actually goes right over to the enemy side, similar to what we've seen before. In this last slot, I kind of went back and forth on the heroes. And overall, Vipera, I believe it's Vipera, doesn't really see a lot of utility. Don't see tier lists or anything like that. Same with Naru, not seeing the hero a lot of different places. So overall, a pretty good list. When you look at the build out, again, when you officially or the first time you start, might want to pick up that one single copy of Brutus so you do have the immunity shield. That way you can try to get in here and actually get a tank a little bit early. So once you do pick up that initial tank, because if you're like me, you might get stuck with just a bunch of burst heroes at that point. Let's hop in here. I want to do a couple summons. You can see we have around 10,000 diamonds. Now this, of course, you can see guaranteed in 60 recruits an S level hero. So every time you do your 60 recruits within this wish list, you are going to get one of these 8 heroes, and that is guaranteed, which means, again, coming in here, it's going to make a really big difference. And you do get a guaranteed A-level hero every 10 summons. So that is huge, because when we're in here, we're doing our summons. And of course, once you do 1 or 2, you can skip the animation in here. But once you go in here, there we go, we'll skip the animation. We do pick up, right there's another copy of Smokey. And look at that, 1, 2, 3 copies from other heroes. And then of course the acorns, you'll see these acorns. The acorns are used to actually advance a lot of the heroes in here. Now the primary, I believe the A-listers do need this little silver soul stone that they have. And then the S-listers and the A-listers need these stones as well as the acorns to actually make progression in there. So let's go ahead and skip. Boom, we got a couple more in there, which again, these are required to actually build them out. I'm hoping we get lucky, maybe with a few, and it looks like, oh, we didn't skip it. That's why. There we go. We got 1 copy of Arden. Again, a lot more acorns in here. I'm going to go ahead and burn these diamonds. That way we can go through here, do a couple more summons, and there we go. We got Kruger and we got OD. That is a pretty good summon right there. Build them up a little bit further. And it takes a lot of copies, but look at that, guys. We have 4 purples right here, which means we're going to see a lot. Boom, there we go, 4 of our purples. Now, of course, once you have a hero maxed, you'll see it turns into 30 right here. I believe that was a hero that we built before. So essentially, you start accumulating to a point, getting a lot more. Once you don't need these soul stones, they actually get the converted to acorns automatically. And I think we're almost about done with summons. And there we go, there's another copy of Smokey. So Smokey, of course, we can build out a little bit further, but we can hop over and check them out within the Resonating Hall. And then, of course, boom, we get the little icon right there. 2 of these legendaries, Legendary to Legendary Plus. Let's go ahead and ascend Smokey. And again, heal-wise, PvP, the hero can be crowd controlled. So unfortunately, when the hero is crowd control, he does lose the ability. And there we go. So this is using our acorns to build them up. Massive acorns. And then of course you need those essence. We've talked about it a lot when it comes to the essence. So gaining levels right there. When you're getting that hero essence, you want to make sure that you're getting it on a regular basis to actually build these out. Now Valen, we did the exact same. Got a little bit further. Now with the heroes, again, this is kind of an update if you've been playing for this for a little while. Once you get to a point, you're unlocking skills and abilities. You're also unlocking signature items. Once you get to a point, which of course is right here, we unlocked Eternal Thunder, level 1. So it grants permanent and grants an increased attack bonus. So a lot stronger there. Then of course, Supreme, we still do need a lot more copies to actually build these heroes out much further. So Mythic then goes to Supreme. So we could max them out, which I'm going to go ahead and do, because remember, this is still the PTR. This is the test server. So there we go. That gives him the Supreme ability right there, or no, unlocks it Supreme Plus. So we need a little bit more to actually build them out to add some more stars, which we did for Leica. We actually built her out with that. Well, not Supreme Plus yet, but she is Supreme. And I think we need, look at that, 5 of 20. Like I was saying, with a lot of the copies, you need a lot in here. But guys, that is going to do it for today's video. We're going to continue leveling up these heroes. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the wish list. And as always, thank you guys for watching.